Welcome to the Aboriginal channel. On this episode, we're going to give some clarity to what I was talking about in a previous video about when they said the Cadus left Oklahoma when the Civil War started and ran to East Kansas, and how I said they didn't run to East Kansas because the Osage were located there and they had beef with the Cadus. So right here at Archaeology University of Arkansas.edu, it says that the Cadus were in a confederacy with a tribe called Caddo-Hadocho on the Great Bend of the Red River, the Nutchachocchis in West Louisiana, and the Hassania in East Texas. Now, the Hassania, it says, are Indians who belong to the Caddoan linguistic stock, a large family that includes the Akura, Pawnee, Wichita, Sitse, and Caddo Indians. That's important because when you go look at a tribe map, an old tribe map of Oklahoma, you see that the Wichita Indians were right up against the Caddo. So they were in a confederation with each other. And that's important because when you look at the battles map, you see that the Caddo, which were right here in Arkansas and right here in West Louisiana, were also fighting right here in Oklahoma. And the Osage were right here in these four states. But there's some interesting facts within the details. So down here at .edu, it says that the Caddo had a competition and occasional hostilities with the Osage, the Cherokee, and the Choctaw. Okay, so they had beef with the Choctaw. Now, when you go look at a map of the Oklahoma tribes after the Civil War, you see that the Choctaw Nation was put inside of the Caddo's territory, and the Caddo was put way over here, and that just don't equate to me. You put the Choctaw right where their enemies were and put the people that were there over here, but that's not the only example that I found of that scenario. Right here at Oklahoma Historical Society, when it's talking about the Osage Indians, go down here, it says, to end Osage Cherokee hostilities, the U.S. government forced all Osage bands to remove from Arkansas and Oklahoma in 1839. And that's a lie. It says these bands were, but the point is that the Osage and the Cherokees had beef. And then when you go look at the tribe map of Oklahoma before the Civil War, you see that Osage were right here in the northeastern part of Oklahoma. Then when you go look at the reservations that were made after the Civil War, you see that the Cherokee is in Osage's territory, and then the Osage is right here connected to it, which also does not make any sense to me since this is Osage's historical territory. Why put them over here and put their enemies in their territory? It doesn't make sense. But going back over here to see what it says about the Osage, it says removal back to Oklahoma from Kansas in 1871 was the third displacement within 46 years. So again, when we seen the Caddo supposedly left Oklahoma, went to East Kansas, and then came back after the war, and I said it's my own opinion that when they came back, they were of the Mongoloid stock. And so I'm saying right here that when the so-called Osage Indians were removed back to Oklahoma from Kansas in 1871, they came back also as a Mongolian stock. Then on a side note, I want to point out the fact that this little bitty piece of land right here says the Miami Indians were put there on a reservation. In a previous video, we talked about how the Miami Indians were around Chicago, Illinois, entire northern half of the state of Indiana into Ohio, and possibly down into West Virginia, where it says right here that in that area, the Shawnee and Ohio Valley tribes were located. So basically, the Miami tribe spanned a lot of land. They had a lot of territory because they had a dense population. So it's odd that they only have this little small piece of land right here after the Civil War. But one could think and relate that to the 6,000 unknown in the grave in Chicago on the south side, and the fact that the Miami Indians have a long history of massacres upon European settlers through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's